Hello and welcome to our session for the next half hour. We're going to be talking about something very, very important today, which is recycling and how to make sure our synthetic fabrics do not pollute the world any more than they already do. And Charlene is going to tell us all about a wonderful project called Reclaim.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, so I am Charlene Bent and I'm from the Salvation Army Trading Company, otherwise known as SatCol. So SatCol is the trading arm of the Salvation Army, and we divert over 250 million items every year to good causes, good uses. We partner with hundreds of businesses across the country and over 340 local authorities. We're the largest charity-owned textile collector in the UK. Through our various reuse and recycling schemes, we lessen the impact on overflowing landfill sites, and we help organisations fulfil their corporate responsibility. We actively develop and produce modern solutions for charitable donations and efficient ways to support the fashion circular economy. Today with me is James Holmes from Project Plan B, Mayona Frost, who's our Head of Sustainability, and myself, Charlene Bent, who is the Marketing Manager at SatCol. So the work that we're doing is helping to redesign fashion with advanced sorting facilities and innovative repurposing schemes. Please watch our video to learn a bit more about how our processing centre works and all the efforts that we're making to reuse and repurpose and recycle fashion.
SatCol is the trading arm of the Salvation Army. We're working to support organisations reduce their carbon footprint by receiving their excess stock and kind donations into our processing centres. Through our various reuse and recycling schemes, we lessen the impact on overflowing landfill sites and support the circular economy. This is the modern approach to corporate donations. Your returned and excess stock will be distributed across our 240 outlets for resale. Profits raised from these charitable donations will be donated to the Salvation Army to continue to support the great work they do. SatCol are working to save our planet, one donation at a time.
So each year we divert over 65,000 tonnes of textiles. 80 to 90% of that is reusable quality and 10 to 20% is non-rewearable. So over 300,000 tonnes of textiles are put in household bins each year, and there's a percentage of that which is non-wearable, and SatCol are working to create solutions to repurpose those textiles, and Mayona Frost is going to talk us through that.
Thanks, Charlene. Yeah, so as Charlene said, there's an enormous amount of textiles that we consume every year and also that we waste and that's worn out. So at SatCol, we're really interested in closing the textile loop, so making sure that those worn out items can be essentially turned into new clothes. And last year we started a project called Fibre Sort, and that's been operational for a year now. It's in our catering warehouse that you just saw in the video. And any worn out items we put through the Fibre Sort line, and it gets scanned and sorted into the different fibre types. And we're doing a lot of work around figuring out where we can send those fabrics to be recycled.
Great, so I'll show a video on how that new technology works.
SatCol are the trading arm of the Salvation Army. We are the largest charity-owned textile collector in the UK, proudly working to reuse and repurpose your generous donated clothing. We lessen the impact on overflowing landfill sites by extending the useful life of products and reducing waste. We have installed a new groundbreaking technology called Fibre Sort, set to combat climate change. Fibre Sort is an automated material recovery facility with smart technology designed to identify and classify non-wearable clothing into grades suitable for recycling. The process separates items into fibre types such as cotton, wool, and even identifies mixed fibre blends and colours. This game-changing approach supports the fashion circular economy like never before. SatCol are committed to improving our planet and working to create the change we all would like to see.
Great, so it'd be fantastic to learn a little bit more about how that technology works and why we need this. So for example, in terms of fibre content, usually that's listed on your little label at the back of your clothing. Is this always accurate?
Yeah, that's right. So we found with the fibre sort machine that actually it's often not accurate. So what's on the label doesn't always match what our machine says. So it's important for us to make sure that we know what's in the garment so we can find the most appropriate recycling route. And if you think about what people donate to us as well, an item could be 6 months old or it could be 20 or 30 years old. So often labels will be worn out, you can't read them anymore, or there might be itchy labels and people have cut them out so that the label isn't always available.
Absolutely. And we have a mini version of that technology here today, so the audience is very welcome to come up a bit later and have their garments tested. So what happens next with the sorted textiles?
Yeah, so there's quite a few routes to market for the worn-out textiles. A lot of those, unfortunately, at the moment are downcycling, so we can turn the textiles into insulation. They can be used as industrial wipers. So they're well-established markets, but we're very interested in making sure they go into new clothes as well. And there's some good technologies available for recycling 100% cotton. And we'll tell you more about our latest project to recycle 100% polyester. But there's a lot of clothes that are blends of different fabrics, so polyester and cotton, or some garments have 3 or 4 different materials in it. So there's a lot of work to be done there to make sure we can recycle those blends, but also sort of redesigning and rethinking how we make clothes in the first place. So there's a big role for brands and retailers to make sure they design clothes in such a way that they are easier recyclable at the end of their life.
Of course. So immediately especially there are lots of independent brands here, what can they do?
So yeah, it's really important to start at the beginning. So when you design clothes, it's thinking about actually how can I make sure it's just a single material or maximum 2 materials, and it's easy to recycle at end of life. And it's not just the main material, but also, for example, labels. I've got a t-shirt on that's 100% cotton, but my label is 100% polyester. I just tested it on the little machine. So there's then quite a lot of work to do at the end of its life to cut these labels out, or buttons and zips and things like that.
Fantastic. And of course, SatCol are always coming up with innovative technology and game-changing approaches to help support the fashion circular economy. And as part of that, the next phase of FibreSort is our latest project, which is a world first in breakthrough technology for recycling polyester, called Project Reclaim, and it's in partnership with a company called Project Plan B. And James is going to talk us through just a little bit about how that works and what that looks like in terms of recycling. So what is Project Reclaim, James?
Well, Project Reclaim is a mission that collectively with Plan B and Salvation Army to tackle post-industrial and post-consumer polyester textile waste, diverting it from incineration and landfill.
Fantastic. That's really exciting. And how does it work?
It's thermomechanical. It's been around for a long, long time, this technology, but our machine is different. We've built in some very clever filtration, which has been put together specifically for post-consumer textiles to deal with the organics, the dirt, the stains, the everyday wear, the laundry uses, and things like that.
Okay, fantastic. And what's been used as part of this technology? So the plastic bottle recycling technology is what I understand?
Yeah, I think that's where it was born from. I mean, plastic bottle recycling has been going on for a very long time. And obviously, the recycled yarns are very popular now within the industry. But the problem is the yarns are actually being put into clothing which aren't recyclable at end of life. Now, what we've decided to do is if we can turn the polyester pellets back into yarns, which we have done, we can then offer that as a resource rather than the plastic bottles. Plastic bottles can remain plastic bottles.
Yeah, fantastic. And why polyester?
Why polyester? Because it's a very versatile, long-lasting material. It's durable, and it can be used again. We can keep it in cycle. If we know the key to clothing, as you touched upon, keep the end of life in mind when designing. And if you're designing with polyester, we can keep that going through the chain for a very long time if you make the right design choices at the beginning.
Right. Fantastic. So we all have a role to play.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, and then can you just talk us how the technology works? So the process, step by step.
Okay, so number one, as everyone can see, is a conveyor system. This is where the textiles will be going up through the machine. Every textile that we put through the machine will go through the fibre sort system to start with. There will also be some manual checking to be done. Number two is where the material gets chopped up very finely, and then it falls down where you can see number three, and that's where we've got the Archimedes screw. That reaches through the screw temperature and pressure at 260 degrees, and with the pressure it comes into number four, which is filtration, and number five is the, have I got that right? I do apologise. No, number four is the vaporization. That will basically take out any moisture, any volatiles that are within the material, and that is captured and retained. Number five, obviously, is the filtration. We have some more filtration on our final spec that's showing on this on this photo, and the pelletization. Once it goes through the pelletization, it comes a bit like spaghetti.
Like this.
Yeah, and then it gets chopped up and cooled at the same time very quickly, and then it goes into the hopper at the very end. And at the moment, our machine can do about 500 kilos an hour.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's the next stage from pelletization for those that don't know?
Back into yarns. That's our absolute goal, fibre to fibre. It's not an easy process. That's why we are first to market to try and tackle the problem. But we will definitely get there. We've done multiple trials. We've done yarn trials in staple, filament, monofilament. So the next stage is to get the machine in, to get some volume, and so we can start doing commercial spinning with the output RPET.
That's really exciting and definitely game-changing technology.
Absolutely.
And something the fashion industry needs. That's really exciting. Thank you, James.
No problem, thank you.
So what can we expect in terms of volumes?
Year one, between 2.5 to 3,000 kilos. 3,000 tons. In year two, that will ramp up to 5, maybe even 6. It all depends on the feedstock quality, and it's identifying what will work through the machine. We also need to understand how many interventions are going to have to be carried out, because, for example, a pair of trousers, which we can only use the legs, that might equate to a couple of tons in total, but by the time you've taken the legs off, you might have lost half that tonnage.
Okay, and what happens next? So what's the next stage from this process? What can we expect to happen as a result of this new technology?
Like I said, I think going back into yarns, but we've got to do some commercial trials. We're looking at other avenues such as 3D printing filament. This is only for pellet that isn't suitable for yarn spinning. We have to find other uses. If it can't go back into yarn, it has another life.
Yeah.
Be it into carpet, be it into 3D printing well, be it into accessories, buttons, and so on. But whatever we do and whatever we process through the machine, none of it will end up getting wasted. It won't go back into landfill or incineration. We will find another route for it.
That's fantastic. And Mariana, what can brands do to get involved and be part of this process?
Yeah, so very excited to talk to any brand around redesigning clothes and working with us on the 100% polyester recycling trials. So very interested to hear from anyone. And I guess from SatCol perspective, our vision is much bigger than just polyester recycling. We want to make sure we close the whole fibre loop. So we're looking to extend fibre sort, extend into a bigger fibre farm so we can sort through more clothing. And
Fantastic.
make our dream
So we're looking for
reality.
brands to potentially donate polyester
Yes.
garments. Fantastic. Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, we are constantly looking at ways to work in partnership with brands and organisations to reuse and repurpose textiles. We have several partnership opportunities, including our take-back scheme, which is available online and in-store, where we can accept customer donations. We also have our corporate donations, which is where we take excess stock, faulty stock, end of line, and we'll distribute those items that are of a certain quality to our 240 retail outlets, and other items will go through our fibre sort technology. And we also have our clothing banks. We have 8,000 clothing banks across the UK. So you probably have seen these clothing banks before in your local Tesco's or Asda's supermarket car park, and these are our clothing banks that are accepting your generous charitable donations. So we accept handbags, clothing, shoes, and again, these items are collected so that we can reuse and repurpose them. And by reusing and repurposing these items, we greatly reduce the amount that we send to disposal. As I mentioned about the corporate partnerships, we're keen to receive any excess, faulty, or end-of-line stock. So we are at stand SF G60, so please come over and have a chat with us, and we can look at opportunities for partnerships to receive your end-of-line stock. The great thing about the work that we do at SatCol is we're providing modern solutions to support the fashion circular economy, has both social and environmental impact with all the work that we do. And here's just a bit more information about our take-back schemes and some of the brands that we've worked with and that we're working with in partnership for take-back. So Tesco's F&F, Cotton Traders, John Lewis, Pretty Lavish, Opoly, and several more. We're most proud of the fact that the profits that we receive are donated to the Salvation Army to continue to support the great work they do throughout the UK. Here are just some of the areas that these charitable funds support. In the last 10 years alone, we've raised over £80 million to support the Salvation Army. If you head over to our stand, you'll see another fantastic partnership that we've done with the Winchester School of Arts, where we have taken donated textiles, the students have taken donated textiles from our clothing banks, and they've used them for their final project collection. Because we were so proud of the work that they did, we used it as our fashion campaign. So in conclusion, our fashion-forward approach is helping to support the fashion circular economy. Thank you so much for listening to us today. We do have our mini fibre sort technology here, so if anyone would like to have their garment tested just to see what it's been made of, you're very welcome to come up and have it tested, or we'll come over to you. And we also have some polyester pellets for you to view. Thank you so much.